In this video, I'm going to show you the methods that I use to find the time to start and grow my YouTube channel whilst working around a full-time career and having a young family. So let's jump in. So you've maybe been thinking about starting a YouTube channel of your own, but finding the time to do it seems like it's impossible. Or perhaps you've started, but you're already feeling overwhelmed at the amount of effort that goes into a YouTube channel. Or even worse, you've already burned out and you've given up. Burnout on YouTube is something that I'd always heard about, but never really understood. That was until I started my own channel and started to try and grow that amongst having a 9-to-5 job, a young family that needed my support, a house, a garden, everything that comes with being an adult and all the other commitments that we have in our life, whilst actually trying to find some time on top of that to actually just decompress and just have some time to chill out. I ended up staying up late every night trying to work on this YouTube channel, and I realised that it wasn't going to be sustainable long term. I was starting to get really tired and it was affecting everything, not just my YouTube channel. But YouTube is something I really wanted to do. I really wanted to take my channel and grow it. So I knew that I had to make a change. So I took a time out. I had to take a step back before I could move forward. And taking that pause is what gave me time to actually stop and think and then create some rules for how I was going to progress my channel going forward. So let's explore what they are. Rule number 1 was make time. Before you even start your channel, ask yourself, how many spare hours per week do I actually have to dedicate to growing my YouTube channel? Initially, you may be surprised at just how little time you actually have, and then write yourself off before you even get a chance to start. But then ask yourself, how much time are you actually spending consuming content on social media and streaming platforms such as Netflix? It's probably more than you think, and you can actually check the stats on your phone to tell you how much time you're spending on social media platforms. In a study in 2023, it was found that British people spent on average 4.75 hours a day looking at the screen of their phone, and a further 4.25 hours a day watching television or streaming services. That's 9 hours a day. Over 5 days, that's 45 hours. That's more than a working week. It's like having a second full-time job on top of a full-time job. And those sort of stats probably ring true across the whole world in this digital age that we live in. Now, I'm not saying that you spend that much time on these platforms, but there's a good chance that you're probably spending a significant amount of time on social media and streaming services. We spend so much time mindlessly consuming content that doesn't really offer us any real value. If we were to sacrifice just a fraction of that time every day and focus it on creating rather than consuming, then you could probably turn at least one idea into a fully published video on your YouTube channel every single week and start growing. Rule number 2, create a schedule that you can actually stick to. Now that you know exactly how much spare time you have available, you have to find a schedule that's going to be sustainable for you. You'll have heard lots of people say that you need to be consistent on YouTube. And that is true. If you're seen by the algorithm as regularly showing up, YouTube sees you as being reliable and is therefore more likely to keep pushing your content wider. But it's important that you don't commit yourself to an upload schedule that you're not going to be able to commit to long term. We all have busy lives, and how busy can vary from week to week. Your best chance at remaining consistent is to ask yourself, what realistically is my minimum output that I can stick to even on a bad week? And the answer to that might just be one video per week, but one carefully thought out and executed video is going to do far more for the growth of your YouTube channel than 3 videos per week that have been rushed. And hey, if you have a good week, perhaps you can publish 2 videos, but be realistic. If your schedule assumes that every week is going to be a good week and that it doesn't throw you any kind of curveballs and everything goes smoothly, then you're not likely to stick to that schedule because life seldom works out that way. You're far less likely to burn out if you set a sustainable schedule right from the get-go. Burnout is essentially just a byproduct of overcommitting yourself. Rule number 3, spend your time wisely. So by this stage, you've decided how much spare time you have available and you've found yourself a schedule that you think is going to be sustainable for you in the long term. But we can take things a step further by considering the return on investment that each task of making a YouTube video will give you and allocating the appropriate amount of time to that task. Not all tasks are born equal. Time is your most precious resource, and that's true of the time that you're spending on your YouTube channel as well. So where is your time best spent? For example, I used to spend so much time on the YouTube Studio app studying the analytics of my previous video when that time would have been far better spent working on the next video. In terms of my time, that was a really low return on investment. Once a video is out there, there's very little within your control that you can do about how well it performs. So constantly refreshing that screen on the app and checking to see if it's had more views or if the click-through rate's improved It's not a good use of your time. Now, typically what I do is once a video's been out there for about 48 hours, I have a quick look at the click-through rate and the average view duration. What I'm really looking for is, are people clicking on the video and are they hanging around and watching it? That gives me a little bit of insight in terms of where I could be going wrong and what I could do to improve things in the next video. But beyond that, that's about as much time as I spend on the app. Instead, a high return on investment of your time might be working on your titles and your thumbnails. As ultimately, if you get these wrong, people don't click on the video. Often where people struggle is that they think of the title and the thumbnail as an afterthought. But really, it's what drives people to want to watch your videos. If people aren't clicking on it, then all the work that goes into actually creating and editing the video is kind of wasted. Another task that has a high return on investment is thinking about your hook. This is worth spending the time on because it could be the difference between people clicking on the video and immediately switching off to actually clicking on the video and sticking around and watching it for a long time. The longer people watch your video on average, the more of a warm fuzzy feeling the algorithm gets when it comes to deciding whether it's going to push your video to more people. I guess what I'm trying to get at here is that you should be thinking about all the different tasks that are involved from start to finish in producing a YouTube video and allocating a proportionate amount of time to each one based on how important they are. So when you're just getting started, if you haven't got any experience in video editing, perhaps don't spend too much time on that. The more efficient you are with your time, the more time you'll free up to actually start studying that in the long term. Allocate a proportionate amount of time for the return that each task is going to give you. This drives efficiency, and any time that you can save could be spent learning new skills that are going to help elevate you further, such as editing, storytelling, or camera skills. Rule 4. Choose the path of least resistance. Now that we've identified the tasks that mean the most, we want to try and make them as easy as possible. Making a task easier may result in it being quicker, but more importantly, it creates less friction between you and the completion of the task. Therefore, the less likely you are to procrastinate about that task. Tasks that seem hard or feel like a lot of effort can often see us shying away from those tasks in favour of something that's a bit easier. You want to make all the tasks that are involved in your upload schedule as easy as you possibly can. This helps reduce the risk of you not meeting your schedule and sticking to that consistency that YouTube puts so much emphasis on. One example about how you might be able to try and make a task easier is that instead of scripting your video, you could just go for bullet points of the main key topics that you want to cover and just talk through them on camera. If every 10-minute video you want to record involves writing a 2,000 word essay every time, then that can seem like quite a lot of hard work and it might put you off. It also eliminates the risk of you sounding scripted as well. We'll talk about that more in another video. Another way you can make things easier is to record from your device straight to your laptop. I plug my camera into my laptop with an HDMI cable. I used to record my video to an SD card on my camera. Then I would have to take the SD card and plug it into the laptop and copy the file to the laptop, which might take a little bit of time. It's maybe just a small thing, but it's just one little thing that helps to shave time off the process. Another way to make the process easier is to make sure that you're capturing your audio on the same device as you're capturing your video. What I mean by that is if you capture your audio separately to your video, you're going to have to drag those into your time frame on your video editing software as two separate files. And talking from experience, it can be difficult to try and sync those two together. And what that can create is a problem where your mouth is not moving in time with the audio that you're speaking. Instead, what I've done is plug this microphone into my camera that I'm recording this on now, so the audio and the video are captured in the same file and are perfectly synced. Another way you can try and drive efficiency and make things slightly easier for yourself is to actually batch tasks. So perhaps you might spend an hour thinking about ideas for your next 4 videos, and then maybe the next day you spend an hour coming up with the titles and the thumbnails for those videos. Maybe the next day it's spending an hour recording those videos. Batching tasks has proven to drive efficiency. And if that can help the process easier for you and save time into the bargain, then it's a win-win. Hopefully this video has helped you see that starting and growing a YouTube channel on top of a demanding work life and busy home life is obtainable. All it really requires is a little bit of sacrifice, some good planning, and drives for efficiency. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.